Hello and welcome to Gazali program. How Shubhecha Bharne, and today we are here with Dr. Sapna Sharma. Uh, Let me introduce her in a small little words. She is a spiritual counselor, a life coach, a motivational speaker, and an author. She is professionally a eye surgeon, but she gave up her profession and she's into counseling for the last many years now. And even for counseling, she's been awarded with many awards like the Gem Counselor and the Successful Women in Management Award and the Counselor of the Decade Award for pioneering and popularizing counseling in Central India. In today's generation or us, as teenagers, it's always said or seen that we suffer, like we are more prone to prone to obsessions about anything. So what is it about, how to deal with it, or how to go about?
Okay, so Bicha, I would say that obsession about anything, rather than that I would say obsession about material things. Every human being is looking for leisure, comfort. That's a need of every human being. Fortunately and unfortunately, this generation has been brought up in a lot of material comfort. And parents mostly do not want their children to get affected negatively about anything. They don't want their children to do some household works, or they want their children to enjoy, have a good life. So a lot of material stuff has been provided to the kids since childhood, especially this generation. And if you have some, you want more. And there's a lot of material stuff that is available around you today, and the television and everything, internet is giving you a lot of access to it. So normally what happens is, when we know anything is freely available and it's an easy life, there's nothing that has to be done when you're using a phone. It's a comfortable thing, just lie around and you do that. It's an easy life to do. So getting attracted to these kind of things is easier. Obsession is a little stronger word. But I guess anyone who gets an environment like that would be obsessed. So I won't entirely blame it on the generation, because unless there is a need to work hard, no one wants to. Everyone wants to have that comfortable life. So that is why they are leading and going in that direction more.
So it's not entirely the generation's fault, whereas it's the fault of everything around
I won't
them.
even call it a fault, it's a system.
Okay.
It's a system that's just evolved that way.
Okay.
Though it's not very good, but yes, that's what we are living with.
There is a lot of stress. There's a stress factor going on in every teenager's life. Not only teenagers, but everybody. But especially teenagers, like they have studies, and then they have a thing like you have to go out. Oh my God, I have to dress up, and there is stress everywhere.
Yes.
So how to cope up with that?
See, stress comes from competition. Okay, we used to perhaps have stress about the competition only about maybe scoring, and that too in the comfortable range of maybe above 65%. So that was easier for us. For this generation, the competition is very tough because it's all-rounded 100% competition. What mobile phone you use, which company mobile phone, and how expensive is your phone, and mine is not. And then there is competition about what brands you are wearing. And then there is competition about what vehicle you are using, and there's competition about everything. And that is why the overall stress has gone pretty high. Because apart from the studies, which forms perhaps a very small part of it, other things are added to it, which creates an effect of all-round stress. You asked me how to overcome that or how to work on that. I would say that, you have to set priorities. People have to, anyone, it's not just the teenagers. We have to set our priorities, what is important for me. If I get a BMW today, someone else is going to get a Jaguar tomorrow, or a Mercedes, or something else better than that tomorrow. There's always going to be someone better. So what do I need? So if I go and look for a phone today and my requirement is that good photographs, I will pick up a phone which can click good photographs. So then I should be clear that, okay, I don't need the other phone. Mine is also good enough and doing what I really want. So that kind of a thinking, which again I feel needs to be inculcated by parents at an early age, that whatever you need, why do you need it? Does it satisfy your need? Why? In fact, why when you are studying, students ask these days, why do I need to study history? I'm not going to do anything in history. Why Sanskrit? I'm not going to do anything in Sanskrit. So similarly, why is it not applicable to other aspects of our life? You know, like I have 4 branded t-shirts. Why do I need a 5th one? That kind of an approach can help to reduce the stress. I'm saying get everything that you want, but know what you want first. If you know about anything in life, if you know what is it that you want, what is your need, why you need it, if you keep that approach throughout your life, you'll always find that you're less stressed.
Okay, that's a nice way. We always say that parents and peers play a huge role in our lives. So it's like how do they affect a teenager's behavior? Maybe good or bad?
As I've been saying, if you have noticed, Subhecha, that I every time say that, okay, the parents need to do this. So yes, it is the parents who make a lot of difference. I would also add teachers to that, because children are influenced by what's going on around them, and there is too much of an exposure by the time you grow up, and you would get attracted to whatever looks good and feels good. So what kind of an environment is there in the family? Do you have patience in general? Both the parents are working, usually they do not have enough patience with the children, so that's easier to give them what they want rather than to indulge in a dialogue with them to understand what's happening with their life and all. So it's a chain process kind of a thing, you know. First is parents need to have patience. Secondly, parents need to learn to give quality time. It's not about how much things you give and what institute your child is studying in and how much is the fees that you're paying for. But ultimately what matters is how much time you have spent with the child. Has the child ever spoken his heart out? And do you really know what this child is all about? Which each child is an individual personality. So if I believe that if an individual feels understood, his behavior would be less irritable. Because otherwise you're always fighting. Because you feel people don't understand you, so you're in that fighting, irritable mode all the time. So I believe that if they feel understood or if they feel listened, they do listen to me, and then sometimes they give and sometimes they don't give. The irritability, that stress should come down.
But then sometimes it's like, even when I fight with my mother, she has a point. She has her own point which she proves to me. I understand that point, but I do not agree to that point. But when I'm understanding her point, I'm letting her know that, Baba, yes, I'm understanding your point. But when I'm trying to put forth my point, she is not ready to listen to me. She is not ready to understand what I'm trying to say.
That's exactly what I'm saying, that parents need to inculcate more patience in them. We generally try to make the children live by our rules. You know, as a parent also, I would say I've also been guilty sometimes about that. But we try to, you know, tell them about what happened in 1857, how we were growing up. And it doesn't work like that. Parents need to walk 4 steps ahead if they want the children to come 4 steps behind. I cannot tell my children to wear the kind of clothes I was wearing when I was growing up. It would be wrong absolutely on my part, though I may not be very comfortable what she is wearing with. So yes, the parents need to walk ahead and come to this generation and then put the restrictions which they feel according to for safety, security, whatever is required. So you can't be standing somewhere else and telling them, okay, now don't do this because we didn't do it. It doesn't work like that. So that's what I'm saying, more flexibility in the approach, more communication and open. Communication is not asking questions. Communication is actually listening also what the other person wants to say. So yeah, there's a lot of change that parents need to, that can bring in themselves.
Another trait that is noticed in today's generation is they're very bold, very fearless. So how did the fear factor play a role in one's life, and how much is it necessary or how much it is not necessary for us today?
Very interesting question, Shubhecha, because see, fear has got dual quality. It can be positive, it can be negative also. Because I believe fear is the biggest motivator anyone can ever have. If there is no fear of examinations approaching, I guess no one is going to touch the books. It's the examinations which make us study and which make us grow. When we were growing up, the fear that we had for our parents would ensure that we reach home on time, that we don't get indulged in things, though we also had temptations. So the fear saw us through a lot of things. You know, we were protected from a lot of issues of the life because of that fear. So I believe fear is essential. Parents have to play the roles of parents, and that fear, in addition to fear, whatever you want to create in the house. But to some extent, the child should feel and think that, okay, would my father like it? Would they approve of it? Once you think twice about this, you will perhaps not take a certain step which you need to take. So I believe fear is essential. Absolutely having no fear at all is not a very good way of living, because what I'm seeing in my counseling practices, because there is no fear of what will happen to me if I don't study. Okay, because my parents have shown me I've got a lot of money around. They give me everything that I want. Okay, so I have never faced that situation. Okay, what happens if I don't study? What happens if I don't get a job immediately? I am not faced with that fear at all. And because of that, I'm not so serious about my studies. I'll be like, okay, kar lete hain. So I'll just do it for the sake of doing it. I'm seeing a lot of these kind of youngsters who have got great potential, because I believe every generation is more smarter and more sharper than the earlier generation. But because they don't have this fear of what will happen of me, I have to stand on my feet and I have to do it for myself. Because they don't have that fear, their responses to life are very laid back. Chalta hai. Either it happens or doesn't happen, it's okay type. So I believe, yes, some amount of fear is essential. Total being fearless is not a very good idea.
But then, as you say that we need to think, like if we think twice, we may not take a certain step. But then sometimes it's always said that you tell some of your experience to somebody and say, learn from my experience. But it's not always learn from my experiences, because sometimes you need to experience it yourself.
Certainly, but then element of fear should be there in that also. Like I want to maybe set up my own business, and everyone has been into a government job in my family, so they're certainly going to tell me, no, this is not for us. You'll incur losses and you'll have problems in your life. I would suggest take a risk, but fear will make you take informed risk. You'll find out all the possibilities, pluses and minuses. You will take good guidance and good help, and then do it accordingly. If there is no fear, you are going to just splurge out all the money which has easily come from your father, and then again after 2 years come and say that I don't have any money, give me more money for that. I'm seeing that happening. So fear has to be there in a positive form. That's called as informed risk taking, which is again to be inculcated in the children by parents as they are growing up. Small things, like I have often been telling my children, okay, if they come and ask me, I want to go here and there's a party late night and all. So I tell them, see, this is what 3-4 things I'm seeing which is not going to go well there. But it's your choice. Okay, so the moment I say it's your choice, she becomes responsible. Okay, then she has that fear factor. Aisa ho gaya to, if it really happens this way, then what am I going to do? So that kind of an environment, not totally stopping your children, not totally letting them go because they're not in that position to make proper decisions, but helping them in small matters to take risks. That's a different thing altogether. But fear is an important aspect of life.
It's also seen like, first it used to say, like even my dad or like even my friends, they always say, like our parents always say that their parents used to beat them up. It's like, if you don't do this, you'll get spanking, or do that or else you get shouting. You don't do that, something like that. But whereas in today's generation there are laws which are implemented, and the children can go to the court, like saying, even for the teachers, like the teachers can't hit students anymore. So that is,
Shubhecha, it's all about a balance. I won't totally agree that children don't have to be punished, because as they are growing up, there are different ways of learning. Okay, either you learn by yourself or from what you see and what people are telling you, or you make mistakes and learn. Certain mistakes are even not worth learning. They're damaging for the life. So that's where you need to stop them. And if they still don't accept, then you need to put forth punishments in whatever form is essential there. So I won't advocate beating directly, but some form of punishments, or we call them negative rewards. Okay, so you are having a pizza every week. This week you're not getting a pizza because something that you did was not
proper,
called for at all. So that system is essential, even as you grow up, you are in a job and you don't do something right, you do get memos, you do get reprimands, you do get, you're demoted, you're not promoted, you're demoted also. So that's an essential system which is required. We cannot totally do away with it.
This is mostly based on girls, whereas we've seen even there's a small group of girls, like all of them have been friends for 3 years, 4 years continuously, same college, same school, same college, and even though they are so good friends, they end up getting jealous. It's like, oh my God, that boy is looking at her. Oh my God, why is he not noticing me? Oh my God, why is she wearing that? Why is that? I'm like, that is there. And then like there's a center of attraction problem and jealousy in today's teenagers. I'm not saying that it was not there in the previous generations or generations before that, but it's seen more frequently.
Shubhecha, your question had the answer itself. Did you see the kind of questions the girls are raising? Why is that boy looking at her? Why is her dress better than me? Because our orientation has become more material. Mm-hmm. That is why the difference between the two generations is that now the orientation has become more material. So the more material, because material things have got variety. There's always going to be someone who's better than you. So that's a human tendency to get attracted towards what is better. But the other side of it is that I am working on this factor called as self-esteem. Is what do you think of yourself? Do you respect yourself and do you love yourself? Because a person who actually respects himself or herself for whatever he or she is would not get so affected by these petty factors. Okay. Unfortunately, at school level, college level, even at homes, none is working to improve the self-esteem of the children. Parents are sending the children to the best schools. Teachers are ensuring that the children should score very high marks, but no one is actually working into that. Is the child capable to, face the world? And facing the world would come only if I am confident. My confidence comes from, do I feel good about myself? It all percolates down to that, If I don't feel good about myself, outwardly I'll be good, I'll have a degree and I'll wear good clothes and all. But every small instance I am going to, get into either fights with people, or I'll go sulking, I'll go into depression because everyone else is good and I am not good at all, or I'll get into fights with people. So everything you see at domestic level, you see at national level, you see at international level, everything which sparks from low self-esteem of people. Whatever the issue may be, it starts from that low self-esteem of people. And so, given that, I would connect that with, this is a very small form of that, example that you have given, that girls don't get along, but that's precisely the reason. Because I don't know who I am. My identity is what phone I carry. My identity is what brands I wear. My identity is how much I'm scoring on the scorecard, the report card. Because my identity is that, anyone doing more than that, I am going to be miserable. Absolutely, because otherwise I don't mean anything at all to myself. So it's quite a core issue where perhaps again another thing that where parents and teachers and schools need to work on.
But then how would you suggest, I know that I am being materialistic. Mm-hmm. So what would you suggest for us to increase our self-esteem without, we always say that you need to go for a professional help, but sometimes we just need to take some few steps for ourselves to know that, Baba, yes, we need to stop here. And
I understand that. See, it is that you need to understand yourself. It's a simple exercise which I always suggest to people, sit down with a pen and paper alone in a room, make 2 columns, my strengths and my weaknesses. Just that. Don't take anyone's input in that, because people would have different views about you. But then once have the courage to write down these points about yourself. I might often say that my hair is not looking good today. Why my clothes, I'm not very happy today with them. But how many times I actually say to myself, wow, I'm so good. Why I'm so beautiful. And I'm so attractive. Or people really like me. And I really understand what I do. Or I never lie. We never speak those good things about ourselves. So make a list of that. And once you make a list, you will see invariably that the strengths list is much longer. Always. And then post it somewhere where you can see it every time, so that you know that, okay, there's so much good about me. And whatever is not good, which is according to you is not good, you can always work on that. If suppose there are many students in India who have got a problem that I'm not so good at English communication. So that's okay. That's the point. It's negative today because you have never worked on it. You've never worked on it. So when you put it there and you see it every time, 3 times a day, you know that this is what I am to work. And it's easy to work on it. That's a possible thing that you can work on. And one day you will be able to erase it from there and add it to the strengths list that, okay, my English communication is good. It's a simple exercise, but it's a long term. It doesn't happen overnight. There's no magic wand to do that.
So it's like sometimes even I've tried that. I've set in, try to jot down points, but sometimes it so happens like you don't know, you're not sure whether it's your plus point or your weakness.
You can always take help. Talk to people who know what to do in life, who understand this. I'm saying generally don't discuss it with friends because they think at par with you. So someone who can think more, a teacher who knows you more, okay, a relative who is, whom you have respect for, who has seen the world and those kind of things. So you can always take their help and take their input also. But don't discuss it with everyone. It's quite dangerous because people can really demoralize you about that particular
exactly.
thing.
That was my point. How to trust? How do you know whom to talk with?
See, normally you would know people by if you feel positive in their presence, they are the people to talk to.
Okay.
It's as simple as that. So it's absolute, no questioned positivity. That's the person to talk with.
Today, like the children back answer parents. It's like we know that what they're telling is right. Like my mom, like we're going if I'm going for a party, I tell my mom, I'm going for a party. She's like, who else is going with you? Why are you going there? All that questions, it's like for me or any teenager, it is irritating. It's like, why are you asking me that questions over and over again? Same thing. I told you, I have these many friends. These are my friends. These are going to come here. That's it. Then like the next question is, why so less girls are there? Why there are more guys? And then it's like, Mama, they're only my friends. Then what to do? It's like, it's very annoying.
I understand that feeling. I can exactly relate with that feeling. It is. Shubhecha, what I would say is things would become less complicated if you just answer. If you just answer, if you don't take it emotionally or personally, understanding that it's the parent's concern. See, you are a grown-up person, you read newspapers, you know what all atrocities happen against women and all, you know it. It's not that you don't know. Unfortunately, people behave as if it's not going to happen with me. It's never going to happen with me. It's other people who get, affected. It's not going to happen with me. Why get into that feeling? If the parent is asking with concern, just simply reply, okay, 4 of us are going and this person is this and this person is this. And these are the numbers of these 4 people and this is where I am going. If you are not comfortable, you can drop me and pick me up. If you answer that, you save a lot of irritability in the family and in the house just because of just that. So it's basically because why do you take it? It's because you take it that someone is asking you negatively. Someone is asking you negatively. There's nothing negative about it. It's just simply a concerned person. And I'm sure that all the teenagers would realize that once you're grown up and out of your house and your parents don't ask you every day, it's not a very good feeling. It's not a very good feeling. So a lot of negativity can be removed just by taking it by the question. Okay, she's got these 4 questions. So let me give her the 4 answers and finish off with it.
But sometimes it so happens that even if you answer it according to how they want it or what exactly it is, they aren't satisfied with it.
That is okay. You can always tell them, drop me and pick me up.
Yeah.
Your aim is to go to the party.
Yes.
It's not to annoy her or to annoy yourself. Why spoil the mood? Drop me and pick me up. It's as simple as that.
Correct.
So it's basically parents are against us a feeling in the society is which creates more of problem. That feeling is there, parents are against us, they don't understand us. Of course, to some extent they don't understand, but why not try to understand each other and explain rather than getting into that fighting mode? Always.
Well, even it's also seen that not only with parents, children fight with their friends, their siblings for very petty issues. And there are some students or some friends who even I know, if there is a fight going on, for me, I don't like going there. Like I would rather go there and stop the fight. But then there are students or children who would, they're fighting. No, let them fight. Let's see what happens. Why is like that is?
See, these are individual personalities, but Fighting is basically majorly because one is you don't want to share. That's one of the reason. Second is you want everyone to trust you or believe whatever you say is right. Do things your own way. Now that's happening because of nuclear family. There's one or two children in each family, and every child is given everything individually and separately since childhood, not taught to share or those kind of things at all. And every child, parents are too much focused on the children, so the children have the habit of everyone listening to them and doing things as per them. This is happening in many families, not some, maybe exception. So when you go out of the house, you cannot tolerate that someone is countering you, someone is countering your ideas, or you have to share something. So these are the situations which you are not able to adjust. So that when I said initially that we need to work on the self-esteem of ourselves and the younger generations, is because everything comes from there. If I know what I am, I won't be bothered what you are saying about me. But otherwise, I myself don't feel very good about myself, and the moment I feel that you are saying something against me, I'll fight. I will even fight if I feel that why are you looking at me that way? I can fight for it because I myself feel that maybe I'm not looking good, so she's looking at me like that. That's my own perception. That's not yours.
Yes.
So everything boils down to how happy you are with yourself, and how much do you respect and love yourself.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing so much with us. Thank you so much. Keep watching Prudent.